Oh, we are so back. We are so back after 2 weeks of no tarot. Look how many cards are on the table. Can you tell I was excited to be back? Well, listen, we have many different things to discuss today. If you're interested in hearing about a connection with a friend or a family friend and where that's going, if you're interested in knowing about your spiritual life, if you feel like you're in a bit of spiritual crisis, you might want to listen to this reading. If you want to hear some good news in your love life, and also if you want to hear some good news in terms of your well-being over the spring as well, then I may just have the reading for you. This new format is going to be very slow paced. It's going to feel very gentle. On my break, I was thinking about why what I was doing wasn't working for me, and it felt like I was always trying to rush it. And while those choppy readings that I was doing that were very fast paced worked because it was good for TikTok, I do actually think tarot is one of those things that needs to be done very, very slowly and thoughtfully. Otherwise, it makes no bloody sense whatsoever. So, today, here we are, fully intact. We have the beginning message here to turn left, okay? This might mean do something unexpected where you would usually turn right, turn left. If you usually use your right hand, try using your left. I'm not going to tell you for what. You get creative. Don't get creative. I don't want to hear it. Maybe even look to your left and just see if there's anything when you look to your left that you can take as some kind of a sign for this reading, or anything that might be helpful to you. Can you think about anything on your left differently than how you're currently thinking about it? We also have Honest Donkey as well, so I'm well aware that Honest Donkey is something that only my family really do, I think. Honest Donkey, clip clopping up the hill, clip clop, and you have to tell the truth by the time it gets to the top of the hill. I don't think in my childhood that Honest Donkey ever really got to the top of the hill. But there's a message here to be honest with yourself. There's a message here for you to be accepting of the way that you feel, the things that you think. You have to be honest with yourself about your true feelings. You have to allow yourself to experience them. Just a reminder for you to be honest with yourself. So let's jump in to this thing about a friend or a family friend here, okay? So something happened between you and this person in autumn, and it feels like ever since then you guys have been on good terms, but you also have both been spending a lot of time in your heads thinking about what happened, what went wrong, what was the straw that broke the camel's back, what caused the argument, what caused the rift, what caused the drama. And there's no bad blood between you both at the moment, but you are both in a time of getting your facts straight. You are both in a time of being a bit cautious about each other, mainly because you don't want what happened to happen again. It feels like you both perceive what happened to be a negative thing, and maybe you do, whilst the incident has maybe been forgiven and forgotten, if it requires being forgiven, it still is playing on both of your minds. We have the 8 of coins here, and also the 10 of swords and the 3 of coins. So I actually think that although there's that 10 of swords there, and I feel like that 10 of swords represents sort of what happened here. It feels like it was literally a straw that broke the camel's back moment, or it was one person accidentally betrayed the other, or just something happened here that made one or both people feel very hurt. Maybe one person crashed out or something, and maybe there was a risk here to the connection ending. But it feels to me like both of you have sat back and you've chosen to learn. With that 8 of coins, you've chosen to learn from whatever happened here. And you want to continue making it work together. And I also, I should say that I've already filmed this. I've already filmed this reading once over. And my mic wasn't working. My mic on the camera wasn't working, and I found that out the hard way after half an hour of recording. So now I'm back with my usual trustworthy little tiny one. so that I can deliver you this message. But like the initial time that I did this reading, something very prominent came out about like blended families and getting along with each other out of necessity, especially with like the family friend card sort of being there. It's like, can you be family and friends? It's almost a thing of like you haven't necessarily chosen to be in each other's lives in the first place, but you are choosing to stay in each other's lives now that you're here. And you would rather that be a peaceful experience than be one that is fraught with danger and that. And I do think you guys are tiptoeing around each other a little bit, just trying to make sure that you don't make any future missteps. But there seems to be a very wholesome and very warm and fond energy between you both here because you care enough to tiptoe. You care enough to feel on eggshells, maybe a little bit around each other. So I also looked into what might be coming around the corner in terms of this connection, and we got Judgment and Two of Coins. So the Judgment card feels to me like there is a big reveal. A big reveal of information, a big reveal of everything that's been on someone's mind. You know, a big sort of come to Jesus moment, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, on what needs to happen next, on what you both have been thinking about. I also feel like with the Two of Coins as well, that this is going to help balance out the connection between you both. I think that maybe when you both have been getting in your heads about like, why did this rift or this argument or this thing happen between us, you know, why did this person respond in this way, like what caused it? You guys have been so maybe in your heads about it, thinking about it, that it's like once you sort of discuss this openly with each other and once everything is out in the open and it's obvious what the next steps are, you're going to feel so much better about it. It's just going to feel normal. It's like that thing if you need to get the first fight over and done with, and then after that every disagreement becomes easy. This maybe is like the first major rift you've ever had between you and this person. So it's like once you've navigated through this first rift, you start to understand, oh, okay, I know what to do now. Like I know what I shouldn't say, or I know how to phrase things so that they don't get misconstrued. I know how to comfort them when they're feeling sad. I know not to intrude on their space when they need space, or, you know, whatever has happened here. It sort of feels like after all is said and done, your connection is going to be the most normal thing in the world again, and it will be so much easier to navigate. So that is good news. Now, in terms of your spiritual life, it feels to me as though there is a third party in your spiritual life, and this is not a person. It's probably a bad habit. It's probably a way that you're trying to make yourself be that you don't feel like you naturally are. Maybe you just feel like you're being held back a little bit spiritually, and many of you, because you are watching this, it is a tarot reading, I'm going to assume pretty safely that most of you are spiritual people. If some of you are feeling stuck, if some of you are feeling like you're not growing spiritually, if some of you feel as though you're frustrated spiritually, like at yourself for not being the type of spiritual that you feel like you should be aware that social media allows us all to project a lot. There is a lot of projection, especially if you're on spiritual TikTok. There's a lot of people pointing fingers and going like, you know, if you don't do this way, then it means that you're a bad insert practitioner here. If you don't cleanse your decks before using them, it means that you're a terrible tarot reader. If you don't snuff out your candles, if you blow them out instead, it means you're a terrible witch. Well, that's just a lot of projection. There's no actual real rules about spirituality, like, you know, aside from maybe religious dogma. But I feel like not that much religious dogma makes its way over to tarot. Anyway, non sequitur. I feel like the wonder of spirituality is that you get to make it whatever you want to make it. You get to make it whatever feels helpful and what feels useful for you. And I think that you're a little bit rigid right now in the way that you're trying to do spirituality. I've literally got the word rigidity in front of me. I don't know if you can see that. Rigidity and pride is probably the wrong way. It's probably flipped the wrong way around. because you think that there is a particular way that you are supposed to be doing things. And you will feel stuck. If you're trying to do things in a way that doesn't really resonate for you when it comes to spirituality, you will feel stuck. Spirituality is all about the way that you want to do things, doing things the way that resonates for you. If you can't muster the enthusiasm or the effort to practice every day, don't. Practice once a week. If you can't manage once a week, try once a month. It's up to you. It's literally up to you. It's what feels manageable to you. Spirituality is meant to make you feel better. It's meant to make you feel more comfortable in your human suit, you know? And I wonder, especially if this whole thing of like Delulu is the Salulu is also sweeping some important stuff under the carpet for you. I've literally got on this card. So we've got rose tinted spectacles, pedestal, and Delulu is not the Salulu. So I'm the first person to say that Delulu is in fact the Salulu, especially when it comes to training our brains to see more positivity in the world. But I also think that you shouldn't be leaning so far into Delulu being the Salulu that you start sweeping important shit under the rug. As much as it is good to try and stay positive and to say your good affirmations that everything good just happens for you and you're the luckiest person in the universe, sometimes you're just not going to feel like that. And when you try and tell yourself these extremely positive things, when you absolutely really do not feel like that is the truth of the situation, you're going to feel a lot of what's the word? What is the word? You're going to feel dissonance. You're going to feel friction. Right? Because you're telling yourself something that your brain feels is objectively not true. So I think it's about getting a balance, as everything in life is about getting a balance. Sometimes Delulu is the Salulu, other times having those rose tinted glasses on so strongly is actually stopping you from being able to feel what you need to feel. And there is no obligation for you to always be positive. There is no obligation for you to always be telling yourself these wonderful things and to always believe it. Because if you always believed everything was wonderful all of the time, you wouldn't be human. And I would also be asking you what kind of medication you're on, because I want some. I think it's really hard. I think it's very hard to, people are in crisis just widely. People are in crisis at the moment and they want answers, and you and I want answers, and you and I want to find the quick fixes, and we want to know how to manifest brilliance into our lives, and there really is no quick fix. I want to make it very clear here that some people will say that you do have to think positively about your manifestations all the time, otherwise they won't happen for you. And I think that's very unhealthy advice to be giving a mentally ill Western world. I think that can make people very obsessed. And so I just want to say to you right now, although you probably already know this, I just want to remind you here that you are allowed to think negatively sometimes. It's not going to stop you from bringing in what you want to your life. If you can make slow and steady progress towards your goals, that is what is going to help you achieve your goals. I'm losing my voice. That is what is going to help you achieve your goals. Thinking positively all the time is just going to exhaust you, especially if that's not genuinely how you feel, So anyway, if you're feeling a bit lost spiritually at the moment, fear not. Just let yourself flow. Do things that work for you. Take a bit of a social media break if you feel like there's too much noise and too many people telling you how to be and what to do. Take a bit of a break from social media. Cleanse yourself of it, and get back in touch with yourself. Anyway, let's move into the bit that you all really want to know about. So I feel like some of you have been in connections recently that maybe have felt like they were starting to slow down a little bit, or it feels like there is like a lack of determination with someone that you're seeing here, a bit of indecision. But I wonder if you could just see this as being something that's slow and steady. I don't feel like this connection is completely on its way out. I feel as though one thing you can anchor onto is the consistency either of the physical affection or of the emotional intimacy. If you both are still having lovely, deep, and meaningfuls, and you feel like that hasn't really changed too much over the last couple of weeks, I feel like that is something good for you to anchor onto. If you two are still being very physically affectionate with one another, I also have PDA here. If that hasn't really changed over the last couple of weeks, that's something positive for you to anchor onto. But I also have 3 cards here from another oracle deck. I think you're used to being used, and so I think that you're kind of programmed a little bit to look for the dangers. You're looking for any kind of behaviors that signals to you that this person is going to in fact leave you. And I wonder if you can just hold on for a little bit longer. Can you sort of parent yourself into a place where you're happy to just see where this goes for another month or two? Because in the springtime specifically, we have the spring card here. In the springtime specifically, it feels like this connection is going to go through a transformation. It's like it's going from a honeymoon phase through to a phase that's still really pleasant, but it's just more consistent. It's like you're going from that initial like crazy peak of a really exciting relationship and bringing it down to like sort of a pretty steady sort of middling point where things are good and things are peaceful and things are nice, and you know that's it doesn't feel so exciting, but it's much more, it's probably healthier. you know um and I do feel like if you can stick around through the transition, and if you can stick around through the change that's happening here in this connection, you will find that on the other side you will be very emotionally fulfilled by what it can be. So trying to keep yourself grounded and trying to, I mean, it's so hard. We all lose our heads when we start dating, don't we? It is hard. But if you can try and find any way to keep yourself grounded over the next couple of months, just say to yourself, I'm going to see this through until April. I'm going to see this through until May. As long as you feel good enough to do that. I mean, obviously, if you're really not feeling good in your connection at the moment, please don't let it go on any longer. You deserve to feel good. But if you're sort of at a point where you're like, I feel wobbly right now, but it could just be me freaking out because of my own past, I would encourage you just to see what it is like to continue one more day at a time and see where this ends up. Because it doesn't feel all bad. We have the abundance card there, so it feels like this is just a funny transition from honeymoon phase to a happy medium. Which weirdly enough is the book that you're balancing on at the moment, because I haven't got a tripod. I haven't got a tripod. It must be a mixture between a tripod and an iPad. I haven't got a tripod at the moment, so yeah. Hey, I've been away for 2 weeks and I barely talked at all, and my voice still isn't any better. I wonder if I should get that checked out. Okay, let's talk about well-being. This area of your life is going to flourish in the springtime. I think that you can really look forward to some very big revelations in terms of your personal growth, in terms of, well, let me name you some things: self-growth, perspective, intuition, maturity, and identity. If you feel like you've been struggling with any of those, or you have just sort of plateaued in any of those and you've been wanting to grow further, you've been wanting to see improvement in certain areas of your well-being, very generally speaking, I'm not just talking about like physical health here. I'm sort of mostly talking about like holistic well-being, as in like how happy and fulfilled are you within yourself. There is a bit of a breakthrough coming through in this area of your life. There are 2 areas of your life specifically that I feel are going to be hot topics over the next couple of months. Firstly, we have rejection. So you might be throwing yourself into some kind of like rejection therapy over the next couple of months. Not formally, not necessarily going to like book a therapist to help you to do it, but you might feel emboldened. You might feel enthusiastic about the opportunity to text someone, even if you're not sure that they're going to text you back, but to do it anyway and to sit with the feeling and see how it feels, and notice, even if they don't text you back, that actually you're kind of fine. I think that there's something in you that wants to encourage yourself to be okay with rejection. I think you recognize the way in which your world could open up if you were okay with rejection. So you might be sort of throwing yourself into doing a little bit of like safe but maybe slightly boundary pushing rejection therapy in your own time. There also is injustice. Now, this is something that I feel like is sort of deeply affecting everyone at the moment. We are seeing a lot of injustice happening in the world. We are seeing some terrible, terrible things unfolding. And I think many of us feel a pressure. And I don't think I'm projecting here. I do genuinely feel that many of us feel a pressure to resolve these huge global issues by ourselves and by tomorrow. Which obviously is impractical and also impossible, right? That is not something that anybody is expecting you to do. You're not Superman. You are not Wonder Woman. You are not a superhero that's going to, swoop in and save the day, because none of us physically possess the ability to resolve these problems that have been created over hundreds of years. But I know that some of us are still feeling the guilt. And if you are someone who does feel the guilt of being okay-ish and having some privilege in a world where many people have nothing, or are actively having their rights and their privileges, their rights specifically stripped away from them, who have not been born with any kind of privilege, and who are struggling with the way the world is, who are feeling the effects of the terrible things that are going on in the world firsthand. Where did I start that sentence? Maybe, did I say something about some people feeling guilty for not having to experience all of this shit firsthand? Some of us may feel guilty that we can't do anything, or that we can't do as much as we would want to do. Maybe we can do something. Maybe we can talk about these things. Maybe we can fundraise. We all have small ways that we can make the world just a little bit better one day at a time. And, actually, think of it this way. If you're struggling to feel that you can access personal growth, or if you're just struggling to do everyday life because you're putting so much pressure on yourself to solve all the world's issues in one go, I want you to try and think of it this way. When most of the world's population do just something small each week to make their community around them a little bit better, that is going to be so much more effective than just 5% of the world's population doing tons and dedicating their entire lives to various causes. And although we do appreciate the people who dedicate their lives to these causes, it's not practical for all of us to do that. The world, unfortunately, or fortunately, I can't really figure it out, must keep turning. And it's our responsibility to try and make the world a better place, one village, one town, one city at a time, one community at a time. So if you can have just a small positive impact on your community this month, what would you do? The things that you are in control of, what would you do with them? And you might find it especially easy to access by process of elimination the things that you are in control of when you make a list of things that you are not in control of. We're not, unfortunately, in control of Donald Trump's actions. We are not in control of, well, one person cannot take down reform. UK, unfortunately. One person cannot end a war. Those things are out of our control a little bit. What we can do is, like I said earlier, we can spread the word, we can talk about it, we can fundraise, we can donate, we can volunteer. We can just be kind to someone today. We can just be kind to someone who maybe needs our help. That might just help you, if you think about it that way, to sort of go about the next month knowing that you don't have to carry it all on your shoulders. You need to find that serenity, find a quiet spot, preferably in nature, sit under a tree, find a little bit of quiet, and let the universe answer your questions, like in Kung Fu Panda 4, which I was watching yesterday while I was doing some work. Poe sits under a tree, encouraged to do that by his master. I can't remember the master's name. And he's skeptical at first, but he sits under the tree and is quiet, and he does find the universe does provide the answers. So go out in nature, find a quiet spot, try to clear your mind as much as you can whilst you are sitting in that quiet spot. Know that you can have a small influence on what is under your control. Know that you're doing your best, and that's enough. And take it day by day, I guess. Anyway, thanks. This has been a real journey. Thanks for coming with me on this new content format. I don't know if it's going to work for you. I don't know if it's going to work for me. But will you let me know in the comments, please? And also, book a reading with me via my bio. I have limited spaces per week now. And go check out BiG MADGE for the key rings and the spell jars that I make. Because I love them very much. I'm doing some markets soon. Those dates will be in the BiG MADGE bio. And make sure you come say hi if you're in the local area. Okay. Alright, folks. Have a good one. Bye.